Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Daily. It's Wednesday, January 18th, here with Jason Seguini. I'm Nick Fershaw, and Jay, we're going to start with a look back at the MLS Supplemental Draft from Tuesday. 75 guys picked in this draft, a lot of winners, some teams trying to, find some diamonds in the rough. Who made the grade for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's interesting because this supplemental draft, the first round is equivalent of the third round of last year's Super Draft. So there's definitely some talent out there. For me, I thought the Seattle Sounders did well. They traded for Andy Rose, UCLA midfielder, could add some depth to their midfield, a smart player, and then also getting Jason Banton. And look, if you get one player to make your roster out of the supplemental draft, you did well. So they have two players who have a shot at it. I think the other teams that did well, I thought Chivas USA did well, picking up a player like RJ Allen. And then Chicago Fire had a couple players who could make the roster, maybe not going to make an impact right away, but Evans Frimpong is a guy to keep an eye out for.
Well, those guys trying to make the Chicago Fire roster and don a brand new kit for the Chicago Fire in 2012. The club announced a new sponsorship deal with Quaker Oats. Quaker Oats fueling the fire is the catchline, and it's a good one. And you like the jerseys. What we've seen there, they look pretty good.
Yeah, I think there's definitely mixed reaction. There's always going to be mixed reaction because some people don't like change, period. I actually really like the away jersey. I think it's a cool look with the light blue stripes, the Chicago color, the color of the Chicago flag in there. So I like the jerseys. I think some people, again, don't like change, but it's gotten a positive reaction overall.
And the Chicago Fire going away a little bit from that red and white routine that we've seen for so long. A little bit of blue in there for the brand new jerseys for the Chicago Fire. Let's move out west, where the U.S. national team is in camp out in Los Angeles, as is the Olympic team, the U23 team, and they went at it again in another scrimmage, their second inside of a week. The U.S. senior team with a big 4-0 win in the first game, this time a little bit tighter, 1-1, goals for Graham Zusi and Jack McInerney.
Yeah, and Graham Zusi continues to impress. He's done very well for himself out here. The team's now moving on to bigger and better things, maybe a little more than just a scrimmage. The U23 team headed down to Costa Rica for a couple practice matches against top club teams down there, and then the U.S. national team will play in Arizona on Saturday.
Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN3 and Galavision. U.S. against Venezuela. Our very own Jonah Friedman is out in Los Angeles. He's had a couple reports for us on Chris Wondolowski and Jeff Cameron, two guys trying to make that U.S. national team squad with head coach Jurgen Klinsmann. A couple other notes here in MLS. The Portland Timbers mining Colombia a little bit more. Their fourth Colombian player inside of a year. Anier Mosquera, a defender, a hulking defender, sort of in the mold of Jamison Olave from Real Salt Lake. Merritt Paulson, the Timbers owner, going on Twitter a couple days ago saying this is the kind of guy they've been looking at for 18 months.
You look what Portland's done to reinforce that back line. Remember, they have Footy Danzo and Eric Bruner, two guys who started a lot of last year. David Horst played a bunch. He's going to miss a lot of this season, but now to add this player, and also in the Super Draft, don't forget that they took Jean-Baptiste, who may not be ready to play this season, but one of the top prospects coming out of college out of UConn. So for Portland, it looks now like they might have one of the top backlines in terms of depth in all the league.
One last bit of news out east for DC United. They have signed striker Maicon Santos, a guy who's bounced around the league a little bit, was with Toronto FC and then FC Dallas last season before he parted ways with Shellis Hyman in Dallas. A nice pickup for DC United. They lost Charlie Davies certainly in the offseason. Maicon Santos adds a little bit of veteran leadership there.
Yeah, and I think the one thing to look at here is people might point to him and say he's failed here and he's failed there. I think he's the kind of player who really needs to be in the right system, and DC likes him for the system that they're going to play. I think he is going to be a serviceable player for them throughout the course of this season. Whether he's a full-time starter or not, I'm not sure, but he will definitely play some important minutes for DC as the season goes on.
A couple more things before we go. The latest edition of Extra Time Radio is up. We spoke with Fox Soccer's Eric Winaldo. You can find that on iTunes. And Buzzsprout and Jay, an exclusive series here on MLSsoccer.com. Inside the Super Draft, it's back. The debut of the new series, the new season of Inside the Super Draft debuts on Wednesday.
Yeah, one of my favorite features that we do on this site. This year we focused on New England and Montreal, two new head coaches. Obviously a lot going on with Jesse Marsch with the #1 overall pick. And then the other team we focused on was Sporting Kansas City, which was obviously fun because the draft was in Kansas City.
Yeah, a lot of fans love that series. Inside the Super Draft, you can find that and all the coverage of the MLS Supplemental Draft right here on MLSsoccer.com.